perfect structure. That's the problem, isn't it? What do you want the outcome of the vote to be then?
That's not for me to decide.
No, I know, but we're fans. We're stakeholders in this. What
I want the outcome to be isn't possible because the clubs don't have enough money to do it.
Okay.
You play each other once. You play each other once home and away. You have two specialty fixtures, which is within that a Magic and another one. I like your idea of having a couple of double headers.
So within your 22 games, you have two of them are special. So you're only playing 22 regular season games.
Yeah, I think you look at like the NRL.
Yeah.
You look at the end of their season; they're ready for internationals and they're ready to play.
None of us are talking about unfair fixture lists in the NRL, are we? No, they play an unbalanced fixture list.
Yeah, but they're also not knackered because I think they finished. Are they finishing? Yeah. And we started like a month before them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they play 25 rounds and they don't play every round. The teams get a bye during that as well. Of course, they have Origin crammed in the middle. That takes out some of the team players, but not that many. No, there's.
But we can't afford it, and that is the argument that Michael Carter has. Is like, well, how do you pay for it? And it's like, well, you look at what York's doing. You had the York on the York on the podcast? On the SLP?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, Gavin came on SLP short, yeah.
They went from almost going under to having attendances in League One of over 1,000.
Another 1,600 crowd on this week when they were streamed on the R-League app, their home game against Oldham.
Coventry are getting there, Toronto are getting there. You know, they're building up a fan base that's not the usual fan base.
Well, we all look around, don't we? Every one of us goes to a game and looks around. How many older people are there? Exactly. A lot. A large part of our fan base is older men, older women.
And also...
sadly, these people aren't going to be around forever. And it's about finding a way of generating through interest from all other areas.
And that's not just in the season ticket, that's in the corporate. Yeah. That's in the sponsorship.
Yeah.
You know, you look at like the sponsors of the Rhinos and things like that. A lot of it is older men who have loved the sport for their entire life, and now they've got a bit of money, they want to give it back, and they're not going to be around forever.
So, yeah, I totally agree, and we need to look at ways of engaging with those people. I don't necessarily think that loop fixtures disengages from that, and that's what I don't. I think it gives you an opportunity to get enough games. I don't think 29's right. Get that right, kick that right to the curb. That's 2 or 3 too many at the minimum, but 25, 26, 27 game, maximum 27 game is what we used to have.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You play each other once home and away, and then you have a playoff for the winner.
So do you want... being realistic, because the 22 game regular season isn't...
It's not realistic,
it's not on the table.
And it doesn't. That's not interesting to people.
So being realistic, what would you want to happen on this vote that's coming up this week, in terms of the 3 options that realistically the 3 options on the table are stay as we is for another year, 14 team Super League, or 12 team Super League with loop fixtures? Which of those would you want to happen the most of those 3 options?
Honestly, I would say like this for another year, and let's have a proper plan next year, because you've got clubs that have planned their next year based on what's already there. If you're talking about changing the championship and changing the League One, that relegation, how are they supposed to recruit players now based on they've been planning a fixture? They've been planning a league which is completely going to shift. It's too late.
Yeah, but everyone that's going to be affected by the restructure of League Championship and League One is actually... They'll have already been planning. So Swinton, for example, could be a beneficiary of it. They'll have been planning for the life of the next level down, potentially.
Yeah. So
that's what the problem is for them, that they may have let some people go, but I don't see that they have. Bradford and York were both... had a plan A and a plan B for next year. That would one of those plans would involve being in the Championship. So they've got that in place. Promotion and relegation means that you have to have 2 plans in place. So I sort of think that's a weak argument for not changing it, when if you're at the top end of one of the leagues or at the bottom end of the other league, halfway through the season you're in that position. You're planning. You've got 2 plans, and promotion and relegation that causes that. Not how the promotion and relegation works. It's the fact that it exists.
As we've just seen with Catalan and the champion. Let's not assume that people have plans. Catalan got to the Challenge Cup final, and everyone in the RFL went, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
Yeah, we're not talking about the RFL.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Don't assume that clubs have got plans.
Good point, yeah.
Right? Just because they should have plans doesn't mean they do.
Okay. Well, I want to change now. I'm amongst that people who've become too restless and apathetic with how the situation has become. And I want to change, so I'd happily go back to 12 teams.
I'm happy with the change. I'm happy with the change. I just think we're rushing into it. Let's take another year and let's ensure that everybody's happy with the change, and it's a change that we can live with thinking forward. I do think that this whole debate about the league structure is hiding the fact that we're not bringing new people to the game.
No, we're not. But is this structure? This structure hasn't brought new people to the game. That's the thing. It was pitched as being dead exciting and stuff, and that was one of the reasons why this was passed through. It's going to create excitement, going to create buzz. People will want to come to games. Yeah. Well, it's not created those things.
But so also nothing else has.
So what's the harm of going back to something that the clubs feel more comfortable in, whilst we think of that longer term strategic plan? Why should we be thinking of that when there's more clubs unsettled each year because more clubs are involved in that race, that chase, that issue? I don't know. It's good to disagree.
It is good to disagree.
We don't disagree enough on this show. So, last word on you. Stay the same for another year.
I think let's at this point stay the same for another year, and let's have a proper plan that everybody's on with, and let's not, because look, if the vote comes down and they say no, I'm thinking Super League's just going to go, right, we'll do it ourselves then. So that's why they've been setting themselves up. That's why they've got their own CEO. Yeah. They're prepared to go, right, okay, we don't need the RFL. We'll work it out. We'll get our own refs. We'll get our own stuff. You know, that is what's going to happen. So we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, one thing's for certain, and this is my last word on this, is that if this is what Friday's like, which is what I imagine Friday's going to be like, no fucking conclusion's going to be reached anyway. So we look forward with bated breath around all of that, because whilst it is just the structure changing, it affects so much more because of the things like you just mentioned, like could Super League split and that sort of stuff. Right, that is an elongated feedback section of the show, because we went down the EGM structure debate rabbit hole situation, but we are now going to move on to news from around the world of rugby league. News now, sponsored by littlewarden.com and rundom.run.
Every year, Don, I'm not reading this out. You know what I do. I do stupid runs for Martin House. Sponsored by Little Warden. Donate with SLP Family. I'm gonna double it at the end of September. We've got, I think, over £150 by SLP, so that's £300 we're going. Donate by the end of September and we'll double it. Job done.
So you go to rundom.run to leave your donation. Hashtag SLP Family in the comments. Rundom.run will pass you through onto the Just Giving page, won't it? And then
you don't need to explain it. They can just go. It's fine. We've already been an hour already. Come on,
Tom. We're not all as technologically advanced as you are, mate. Some of us need a bit more of an explanation.
I've been sponsoring this for 10 weeks. If they don't know by now,
right? Okay. Just a little call out before we get into the news section. That I've put a new Google form up. Basically, I'm trying to get more people giving us more views on the news really each week, so it's not just me and the co-host giving our views. So you'll see links to it popping up every time I see a news story. I try and plug off the back of a news story from our partners at Love Rugby League. But yeah, so go on that, give us a view on your news story, then we'll pick these up in each show. The first news story to start with this week is England's 2 tests against New Zealand in Denver over the next 2 years have been cancelled. In the first of the 3 planned matches, England beat the Kiwis in June in front of 19,320 fans in the American city's big Mile High Stadium. Promoter Jason Moore did not meet the deadline to pay the RFL or New Zealand Rugby League. The Kiwis will instead host current world champions Australia and World Cup semi-finalist Tonga in their next internationals. The Denver Games were hoped to raise the sport's profile before the 2025 World Cup in the United States and Canada. Rugby League International Federation Chief Executive Nigel Wood said his organisation would be seeking further discussions with the promoter. That means seeking further bungs from the promoter to assess any potential implications to the 2025 World Cup. It is the time for the. It is the first time the tournament would be held outside Europe or Australasia, but obviously it's put that under considerable doubt now that we need to figure out if the person we've awarded it to is above board and capable of delivering.
Do we actually do any checks anymore? If somebody says, "Yeah, I got loads of money, I'll do it." Yeah, is that what do they have to do when you want to buy a team? They do a check down on what does it call it? Fit and proper person. Yes.
Yeah. It's fit and fatter wallet test, isn't it?
It definitely is.
Anyway, we've got a few views in, so we'll alternate on these.
Shall I do Dr. Bob first?
Yep.
Completely sensible. If the drug doesn't work and the fix isn't obvious, use a different drug. That's Dr. Bob just there. While this might not be quite the same, it is the principle. It was tested, overall wasn't good enough. Alright, the game was, but that's not the point of the test.
Yep. Wise_old_owl_7.
There were 6 other wise old owls on Twitter. How good are you going to be?
6 other. That used underscores already. Exactly. He's already gone through the whole range of notify. Right, I forgot. Goes past 99. That's too many numbers. Anyway, he says, my opinion is that it's going to jeopardise the 2025 event, and that's not a bad thing.
I think we can assume the 2025 event is dead and buried now. Brian David says, this is the much talk about due diligence in action. 3 test deals subject to conditions, World Cup provisional, conditions not met, therefore review, shame but no hard done.
And Genghis Campbell said, shame England or New Zealand couldn't have taken it over themselves or even worked with the Broncos. There were lots of locals there that were pretty impressed and were coming back the following year. Yeah, it means that we don't leave a legacy, which is a shame. I kind of am in the Brian and Dr. Bob camp that we've found out.
Yeah,
we've found out at this stage that there's serious issues with the organisation behind not just these tests, but more significantly the World Cup. I don't necessarily think a World Cup in North America is completely dead and buried. I think there's other ways about working on that. We've got 6 years still to do something. Realistically, we've got 3 years to do something. But yeah, it's a blow. Definitely a blow. And like you say, if we just follow anyone with cash, hopefully we get some people with a different type of integrity into serious decision-making positions that aren't just looking at where money is and are looking at other things first and foremost. But at the same time, we've tried it. We've got slapped in the face. It's not quite implicated in like tax embezzlement situations with Alan Sanford, so we're a little bit better than the ECB got out of their deal with the Americans.
We fair play. We did try it. We had a deal. It didn't go well, but also we tried it with a plan. We didn't just jump in. We had a plan for right. If this works, we're going to do this and this. So at least if it had have worked, we'd have had a bit of a legacy going forward. So it didn't work. There's nothing more you can say to it.
No. Fair enough. Okay.
Shall I read this one?
Yes, this is the big news for you.
The Leeds Rhinos have appointed South Sydney Rabbitohs assistant coach David Furner as their new head coach on a 3-year contract. 47. He made 47 appearances as the forward for the Rhinos, winning the Super League Grand Final in 2004. The Australian started his coaching career with the Canberra Raiders, serving as head coach from 2009 to 2013.
And the first person who got in touch about this news was very surprised, Jimmy Lowes, who just said, what?
I would imagine that Jimmy Lowes is the least surprised of the Rhinos coaching staff about that. Shuddy Mungo says he's been an assistant coach for 13 years. Will be interested to see how the dynamic of the relationship develops between the three and where the power to make the team decisions will lie. The real question is, will the Sky cameras still seek out Sinfield?
And Rich Wilkinson, the most passionate of Leeds fans, says, a bit of good news at Headingley amongst what has been a massive damp squid since Sir Kev returned. Furner is a good coach who can bring some structure and coaching quality to the team. Leeds need much more than Lowe's as head coach. Hopefully Furner can get a few players he wants for next season. I'm guessing Leeds and Furner are thinking we will be Super League and not the Championship. Somebody might want to tell the players.
Yes, it was squeaky bum time this weekend.
So what's your reaction to this appointment? Obviously a former Leeds player, right at the start of the golden generation, he came in and helped shape things.
It's not really a surprise. It's the Sinfield announcement, in my opinion, was done for two things. Number one was to stop the moaning on social media, And number two, that
redirect the moaning on social media, not stop. Come on, it's social media. It should be called moaning media.
And number two, it's